me, your mother.
My mother is dead. Security, get her out of here. I don't have a poor mother like you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for bringing you into this world with nothing.
But no one knew. This was the last time he would see her like this. Years ago, Ibadan. Mornings in Ibadan always began with red dust rising and roosters crowing through the thin mist. Before the street was fully awake, Mama Grace was already on her feet, carrying a heavy basket on her back. She walked slowly, her back slightly bent, but her steps never faltered. The warm aroma of roasted beans mixed with the salty sweat on her forehead. Since the day her husband passed, Mama Grace's world had revolved around one thing only: Tund. She sold roasted beans by the roadside, under the burning sun and through sudden pouring rains. On stormy nights, she held Tund tightly to her chest, shielding him from the cold with her own body, letting the wind and rain strike her bare back instead. Rain mingled with her tears, and she couldn't tell which was saltier. When Tund coughed from fever, she stayed awake all night, her palm on his forehead, whispering into the darkness like a prayer. "Just study well, my son. I'll endure anything." Tund grew up with the smell of roasted beans and long nights studying under the flicker of an oil lamp. When he passed the entrance exam to a university in Lagos, Mama Grace smiled so hard her lips trembled. She hugged him tightly, afraid that if she ever let go, the dream might break. No one knew that just a few days later, she quietly sold their ancestral home, where her husband once planted a tree by the doorstep, where Tund took his first steps. She wrapped the money carefully, sending it to her son with a small note. "Don't worry. I'm doing just fine here." During the first months, Tund called often. His voice was full of excitement, full of dreams. And even though Mama Grace's hearing had started to fade, she listened to every word. Just hearing him eased all the aches in her body, but the calls became fewer, messages were read, but left unanswered. When sickness found her again, Mama Grace picked up her phone with trembling hands, asking her son for a little money to buy medicine. Her fingers shook so badly that she pressed the wrong number. She tried again. The line on the other end went dead. Tund became a success. Success in the way high-rise windows reflect the Lagos sun every morning. Success in tailored suits, luxury cars waiting outside the office, and parties where people talk about stocks, contracts, and vacations abroad. In that world, poverty wasn't just a lack of money. It was something to hide. Something that made you bow your head. A stain you scrub it out of your past. Tund learned quickly how to walk in his new life. He changed his number, deleted old contacts. Never went home, never sent money. Every time Mama Grace's name surfaced in his memory, he told himself he was too busy, too far, too different. He believed silence was a way to cut ties without pain. When friends asked about his family, Tund gave a small, empty smile. "I've been an orphan since I was young." The words left his lips as lightly as a breeze, yet somewhere far away. They fell like a blade, and Mama Grace? Time showed no mercy. Sickness drained her strength, until her legs could no longer carry the basket of roasted beans. Her roadside stall vanished. Morning after morning, there was nothing left but the ache in her chest. Mama Grace began picking up bottles along the street. Every step was heavy. Every day lasted longer than the one before. Some nights, she sat alone holding an old phone, staring into a dark screen. No anger, no resentment. Just a sigh as if this was always meant to be. Then she heard Tund was getting married. The news came like a small flame in a dark room. She smiled weak, but real. For a moment, the sickness, the hunger, the years of being forgotten, no longer mattered. She placed her hand over her heart and whispered, gently almost to herself, "No matter what, he's still my son." Back to the wedding. Music boomed with celebration. Wine glasses clinked under the glittering chandeliers. Laughter filled the grand hall where everything had been designed to look perfect. The white flowers lining the aisle, the polished marble floor, the groom's carefully practiced smile, then perfection shattered. 2 security guards grabbed Mama Grace by the arms, dragging her through a sea of curious stares. Her worn-out sandals slipped off, scraping against the cold stone floor. She stumbled, almost fell, but forced herself to turn back, as if one more look at her son might give her the strength to stand. Tears streamed uncontrollably. "Tund!" Her voice trembled, drowning under the music. "I don't want money. I didn't come to ask you for anything." She struggled to free her hands, not to escape, but just to face her son. "I only wanted to see you happy." Just for a moment. In that moment, the lights reflected off Tund's face. Beautiful, cold, unrecognizable. He stood there, motionless, as if the woman crying before him had no place in his life. Then he spoke. "If you ever come back." His voice was steady, no anger, no doubt. "I'll call the police." The sentence hit the floor like a hammer, no shouting. No rage, just a verdict, clear, final, cruel. Mama Grace froze, her lips trembled. Maybe to apologize, maybe to bless him, maybe just to say his name one last time. But no sound came out. The grand doors shut. Slam. The echo split the world in two. Inside, the music rose again louder, as if someone turned up the volume just to bury what happened. Guests returned to their drinks. Smiles were picked back up. Conversations resumed. The wedding went on, as if nothing had happened. Outside, the rain began to fall. Mama Grace stood alone at the steps, her thin dress soaking through within seconds. She took one step before her legs gave out. Her frail body hit the wet ground hard. Pain shot through her chest, but it was nothing compared to the hollow ache expanding inside her heart. Rain poured over her wrinkled face. Water and tears merged, tracing the map of her years. She gasped for breath, fingers gripping her clothes as if letting go would make her disappear entirely. No more music out here, no more light, no sun. Just a mother, alone in the cold rain, as if the whole world had turned its back. The camera lingers on her eyes, tightly shut from the pain. As the reception neared its end, the music softened, just a looping melody filling the tired silence after hours of celebration. Candles on the tables had melted low. Wine glasses stood half empty. Guests started rising, gathering the last pieces of their smiles before heading home. Tund stood beside his bride, holding a glass he no longer cared to drink. His eyes kept drifting to the grand doors, the same doors where not long ago a woman had been dragged out like a stain that needed to be erased. He said nothing. He thought nothing more. He told himself it was over. Then the doors opened. A man stepped inside. He was neatly dressed. A dark gray suit, old, but carefully pressed. His hair was mostly silver. His steps were slow, steady. No one recognized him, yet something about his calm presence made the room gradually fall silent. He didn't look around. He didn't greet anyone. He didn't care for the lights or the curious faces. His gaze locked on one person. Tund. He stopped just a few steps from the head table. When he spoke, his voice carried deep and steady, needing no microphone to fill the hall. "You are Tund Aidwale, son of Grace Aidwale?" The name hit the air like a stone breaking still water. Guests turned toward Tund, curious, uncertain. Tund frowned. Annoyance creased his perfect features. "Who are you?" he snapped under his breath. The man did not respond immediately. He took one more step forward slowly and set a worn leather case on the table. He opened it, removed a thick envelope, its edges yellowed with time, and placed it right in front of Tund. His voice never wavered. "I am the one who has kept your mother's secret for 20 years. No one spoke. The music had stopped completely. Even the clink of glass had disappeared. Breaths grew heavy and unified. The entire room held its breath. The man delivered his final words. "If you knew what she sacrificed for you to stand here today, you would wish you had never been born." It wasn't said in anger. Not loud, not dramatic. The sentence landed in the room like a slab of ice, heavy, immovable, impossible to ignore. Tun didn't move. In that instant, the remaining sounds of the celebration dissolved. He no longer heard voices, no longer felt the light. Only that sentence echoed in his skull, each word slow, sharp, and painful. Wish you had never been born. His face hardened. The polite smile he had worn all evening melted away like cheap paint in the rain. His jaw clenched. His eyes flickered, uncertainty replacing control for the first time. He looked down at the envelope on the table. It lay there silently, but its weight was heavier than anything he had ever held. 20 years hidden. 20 years of a truth he never wanted, but could no longer escape. Fragments of memory burst back, the smell of roasted beans, a familiar voice calling his name in the dark, a rough, protective hand holding his when he was small. He had buried those memories so deep he believed they were gone, but they had never left. They had only waited for this moment. The room remained silent. No one dared move. No one dared speak. 100 people stood there, yet Tun felt completely alone, exposed beneath the blinding lights. The old man didn't say another word. He simply stared, no blame, no pity, just a raw, unforgiving truth. Tun swallowed hard. His chest tightened, as if there suddenly wasn't enough air to breathe. He wanted to speak, deny, argue, or simply end this confrontation. But his throat locked. Blood pounded in his temples. His heartbeat turned frantic. The camera slowly zooms in on his face. The smile is gone. His hand begins to tremble. Some truths don't just break hearts. They destroy the person you thought you were.